Today, we are going to talk about 5 ways you can fail as a prepper. Now, if you are a type A person like me who always wants to get good grades, who wants to make sure that you're checking off all the boxes, this idea of failing is terrifying and honestly can stop us sometimes from taking steps in this preparedness journey. So today I want to talk about 5 ways that I think you can fail as a prepper. Now, don't worry, there's easy ways to overcome each of these. So don't panic. I'm going to show you how to fail the test, but then I'm going to show you how to pass the test. So take a deep breath. I think the first way sometimes we fail as preppers is just not having a clear idea of what it is that we are preparing for. So again, when you get into the space, you usually do it because something happened. You lost power. A cyber attack happened and knocked out airlines and hospital power. You had some kind of storm event where you realized, hey, things could go sideways pretty quickly. There is something that motivated you to start this prepping journey. And so whatever that is for you, I want you to really stop and think about what it was that made you think, yeah, you know what? Being more prepared is a good idea. When you have that in the back of your mind, you can make really conscious choices about what to start preparing for, what kind of supplies you need, what you need to be doing. Because as I have said many times before, we don't all need to store the same things. We don't all need to have the same plan, and we don't all need to be prepared for the same length of emergency. Your comfort level may look very different than my comfort level, and that's okay. When you get started in this prepping space, just really stop and think about, what is it I am preparing for? What's the most likely scenario that could happen, and what's the most dangerous thing that I think I could face in my local area or in my life that would cause me to want to be more prepared? And then plan to that. Don't just go off the checklist. Don't just start buying all the things. You really want to know what it is that you are getting ready for. And I will tell you, that is probably one of the mistakes I made when I started prepping. Here's the second piece on that is, just as you grow in your preparedness journey, you may start preparing for more and more things, and that is completely okay. Just realize that you don't have to go from zero to, I'm going to have a year's worth of supplies stored, in my basement for an emergency after I've been doing this for a year. Again, my husband and I have been on this journey for almost 5 years now, a little bit more than 5 years actually, and we are still learning. We're still deciding things that we want to do. We still aren't probably ready for a year-long emergency. We would have to grow and continue to learn skills and start our homesteading adventure, which is what we're doing here in Oklahoma, and things of that nature. So think about what you are actually getting prepared for. The second way you can kind of fail as a prepper is simply rushing out and buying gear that you don't really need or that you don't know how to use. And we've talked about this in another video where I believe you have to have the skills for the gear you're buying. Don't just rush out and buy things. Now, is this a failure? Is this just rushing to maybe get into things that you aren't quite ready for? I don't know, potato, potato. But what I would just say is, when you are on this prepping journey, you want to make sure that you're not just rushing into that next step. Again, it goes back to step one, knowing what you're preparing for. Then you can buy the gear that makes sense for the emergencies that you are most concerned about. For instance, maybe you are not worried about having to take a shower in the cold because you live somewhere that's super warm that always has access to water. You probably don't need a solar shower. If you live in Colorado like we did, you're going to probably want a way to heat up water if you don't have power, or you're going to be taking some very cold showers / baths in an emergency situation where you can't use your hot water heater. Those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about. You want to think through those scenarios that you have so you can buy gear that is appropriate. Now, is all gear a failure if you buy it? No, probably not. But I will tell you, I have spent a lot of money on gear that I've realized I don't really need, I don't really want, that doesn't really serve me. And if you've seen my video on why I hate bug out bags, you will know the kind of gear I purchased that is now just sitting out in the garage gathering dust. That leads us to the third thing, which is really just overcomplicating this preparedness space. So when you really slow down and think about what we need as humans to survive and thrive, the list gets pretty short pretty quickly. Now, usually when we are living our happy suburban lives, we believe that we need all of the things in our house to be comfortable. Well, I will tell you, after living in 234 square feet for 3 years back in the day, and now again with my husband and my dog in here for a month or so, you realize that you don't need as much to be content as maybe you think you do. So when you are looking at this prepper kind of space, don't overcomplicate it. Think about what you need to regulate your body temperature, to keep yourself warm in the winter and cool in the summer. You need to think about water and how you stay hydrated, how you filter and clean water, and how you store it or get access to it. You need to think about food because guess what? We all get hungry. We probably need to think about some sanitation and some household supplies to make our days a little bit less chaotic. And then really you want to think about those one or two things that you need to just have a good mental health space, whether that is a journal or a book or a puzzle, or in my case, an iPad to read at night if I need to read. Whatever those things are, that those are comfort items, there may be one or two of those things that you want to think about from a preparedness standpoint. But again, you don't need every piece of gear. You don't need to plan for every emergency. You don't need everything in that LDS prepper guide that I posted on the channel a couple of weeks ago. You really just want to pick the things that you need, again, to prepare for the situation you're preparing for, to make you feel confident. And those things are usually a lot more basic and simple than sometimes we believe when we are reading all of the prepper information out there. The fourth way that I would argue you could fail as a prepper is to operate from a place of fear. And I think the thing that annoys me the most about the community as a whole is that there is a lot of fear mongering and pushing of kind of these most drastic, most scary scenarios. All right, here's what I'm going to just say, guys. I've been in the military for 20 plus years. I've been read into a lot of things. I've had a lot of security briefs. Do I think all of those things that the other channels are talking about could happen? Yes. Do I think they are the most probable things that we should prepare for day to day? No, not really. And here is why I say that. In most cases, you are really preparing for a short-term emergency situation. Most of us don't have the bandwidth. We don't have the budget. We don't have necessarily the skill set to prepare for nuclear war, invasion of China, all of the other things that you are going to see and hear about on those other channels. Does it mean they can't happen? No, it does not mean that. So don't take that away from this. But when you operate out of that place of fear, it shuts us down. It's really overwhelming. And I've had a few friends who've gotten into this prepping space after we've talked, and I feel bad because I realize that every time we talk about it and we kind of come up with scenarios, it is always this terror, fear-based reaction that is encouraging them to take steps. And you know, on here, I am all about being prepared, not scared. And the reason I say that is because I do think we need to be aware of the challenges that are out there, but I don't think that we want to operate from a place of fear. You know what? I'm going to do a whole video about fear. Just don't do that, guys. Worry about how you're going to get food and water and shelter and build on the things as you go. And then the fifth thing that I think will cause you to fail in this prepping journey is doing all the research and watching all the videos and reading all of the books and then not taking action. So when you watch these videos, when you read an article about how to be more prepared and it recommends that you do X, Y, or Z, take action. Make sure that you are taking small steps. Again, that doesn't mean you need to go out to Sam's Club and fill 6 carts full of stuff and bring it all home and spend thousands of dollars at one time. No, no, no. But it might mean that the next time you're at Sam's Club or Costco, you buy an extra case of canned goods to put on that back shelf, that you write those menus that you think your family will want in an emergency situation, that you buy that solar generator next time Amazon Prime Days is having a sale. It's taking action as you go. Again, the way you can fail is by not following through with the things that you are learning. So please, please, please don't make that mistake. Take small actions. Last thing I'll just say is I don't think you can fail at this prepping journey, even though we started with the 5 reasons you could fail. I think that there are things you can do that will slow you down. There are things that you can do that are going to make it more complicated, more expensive, things that are going to make you feel more chaotic. But again, every step you take is a step in the right direction. Did I buy some stuff I didn't really need at the beginning? Sure. But did I learn from it? Absolutely. And now I can tell you what not to waste your money on. So baby steps, keep taking action. Don't worry about not getting it perfect. Don't worry about not checking all the boxes. You are moving in the right direction and you are doing a great job.